Who passed? Who failed? Here are the Wisconsin Badgers grades for the Michigan game.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badger fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, the day after the Michigan game for our position-by-position grades. Who passed? Who failed? What is next for this team? Let's start here. Thank you for making this your first listen every day, by the way. I'm your host, Ryan Harings. Appreciate you being here as always. Let's go. Quarterbacks. B. Hunter Simmons came into a tough spot on the road against a really good defense. Come into the season as the third-string quarterback. Wouldn't have gotten nearly enough reps that he really should have gotten to get himself ready for this position. And in the first half, he controlled the game. Couple throws that you got to have back. He got lucky on a couple. That deep pass was an interception. He's got to throw that a little bit better, a little bit quicker. But given what he had to work with, an offensive line that had him under pressure, a running game that is still trying to figure itself out on the road against a really good defense, B for Hunter Simmons. Finishes 18-29, 177 yards, zero touchdowns, one interception. But I thought for the most part, he managed the game, made quick decisions, got rid of the ball. And again, he was under pretty constant duress. We're going to get to the offensive line grade in a second, but I do have Hunter Simmons as a B. Bo Dragon says C. He played okay for a first start, but he had two that could have been pick sixes. He threw a couple throws he can't throw. I think some grace has to be given to a guy. When I do these grades, I always grade it based on what I think, and this is only my opinion, what I think the expectation should be. So if this was a third-year guy that had played a lot of football for Wisconsin, the grade would be lower than a B. But because it's a guy making his first start of the year who was at a lower level of football last year, and his first start is on the road against Michigan, this is a really good defense. I think what he showed was pretty good to me. So I'm going to go B. Family Man Ty is up next. He's got a running back grade. Running backs for me. C+. Family Man Ty says Dylan Jones B-, good showing. I'm going to go C+. I do think Dylan showed this was one of Dylan's better games this year. Okay. Finished with 3.7 yards per carry, a touchdown. I thought he showed vision, broke a couple tackles. He was one of the higher graded players on Pro Football Focus. Dylan Jones was. But I continue to be a little underwhelmed by Darian Dupree. I would like to see more Cade Yakimelli. And he hasn't been great in his very limited snaps this year either, but I would like to see more of him. I think running back C+. I do think they're getting generally what is blocked for them. It hasn't been pretty. The offensive line wasn't great again today. Michigan's a really tough team to run against in general, but I'm going to go running back C+. I thought Dylan was solid. I would like to see more from Darian Dupree. They did a decent job at times in blitz protection, so you got to give him credit for that. Although Dylan Jones did get blown up on one where he needs set his base a little wider, engage a little quicker. Instead, he kind of waited for the defender to get to him and caught him. You gotta be a little more aggressive probably in that moment. But I'm gonna go running back C+. Receivers, B+. Family Man Ty says Vinny gets an A. Got to get other receivers involved. That's Grimes' job. Yeah, like Vinny. If this is a Vinny grade, Vinny gets an A. Vinny was 9 for 97. He's the best player on the team. Vinnie Anthony is the best player on offense, at least. You have to get him the ball more. He got 9 catches, and it felt like we didn't get him the ball enough. You have to get him the ball more. He can get open. He's dangerous after the catch. Had a great play out on a smoke screen where then he made somebody miss and got down near the goal line on that first touchdown drive. Get him the ball more. Vinnie Anthony is still being underutilized in this offense, in my opinion. But receivers in general, B+. Tretch had 1 catch, got about 20 yards. Chris Brooks had a catch. But there were a couple missed blocks on outside runs that you could look at the receivers. The receivers have to block better. I think they generally did what you would ask them to do in this game. It wasn't a big passing game. Again, Wisconsin only threw for 177 yards. And, Hunter Simmons was under duress for a big portion of this game. I thought they played well, given what they were allowed to do. But run blocking on the edges, the receivers have to get better there. And there were a couple plays that are blown up because they did not block well enough. Tight ends, C+. Dak had a great catch. Mason had a nice catch. There's some blocking issues there at the tight end spot. It was nice to see Tucker Ashcraft get back, but those guys have to be a little more physical, in my opinion. Again, it's hard to grade the tight ends because you complete 18 passes and 9 of those go to Vinnie Anthony. I don't think they were looked at a lot. A couple nice plays. Again, Grant Steck with an incredible catch. maybe this is more of an incomplete grade because they didn't get a great opportunity, but they have to be a little cleaner in the run blocking and pass blocking when asked to do it. So I'm going to go C plus, maybe B minus, just with that Steck one-handed grab. But that was late in the game. Still a great catch. Let's go B minus. I'm going to upgrade it. The one-handed catch by Steck, it gets him to a B minus. Offensive line, B plus. Again, I don't know if this is fair, and maybe this is counter to my argument for giving Hunter Simmons a B, grading it on the context of what is going on. You're starting a new guy at center, a new guy at guard. You're playing Michigan. You're on the road. Still, just it has to be better. And I didn't think the edges held up great, Malman and Mandel. So that's not Heinzen and that's not Kadenko. They have to be better on the edges. Hunter Simmons was pressured on 12 of his 30 dropbacks, and a lot of those were quick releases. It's not like we're taking 7-step drops. You guys remember the old Joel Stave fake handoff, 7-step drop, back there all day, moon ball to Jared Eberderis? We're not doing that in this offense. We're taking 3-step drops, 5-step drops, and Hunter Simmons is still under pressure. He's still getting people in his face. He's still got people all over him. He's still getting hit after he throws the ball. The same issues with Danny O'Neal. You just can't expect a quarterback to be healthy and to stay upright and to be competent in this offense if they're getting pressured on half of their dropbacks. Run blocking needs to be better as well. I'm going to go D plus on the offensive line. I do want to go back and watch the All-22. I think there were some things that you can point to and say, this looks better. Initially in the game, they were better on the interior, but those edges, Malman and Mandel, have to be better. They have to start growing. And I continue to think leaving Malman at right tackle might have been the better move, but offensive line, D plus. All right, we're going to take a second here, come back. We're going to do interior defensive line, edge, cornerback, safety, special teams, and coaching. Grades for all of those coming up next. Let me know in the chat where you are on all of your grades. Family Man Ty says B for offensive line. This unit is a mess and they played pretty decent. Completely fair. Again, these grades are only my grades. It doesn't make them the right one. It's just my opinion. Welcome for every other opinion, every other thought. But I thought the offensive line kind of crumbled as the game went on. And some blitz packages that Michigan was able to break out really confused Wisconsin and created some instant pressure that killed some drives. And we're going to come back with all of our grades next. But first, a quick second for our friends of the show over at over at Peloton. I've talked about Peloton a lot. A powerhouse of a company. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with a brand new Peloton cross-training tread plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move. Whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors, this is training reimagined. Let's get ourselves a little better in the rest of 2025 into 2026. And if you're a Badger fan like me, you might have a little stress to burn off. Let's get on that Peloton and let's create a better version of ourselves. We'll be accountability buddies, you and me, looking at you in the screen. We'll do it together. Right now, let yourself run, lift, flex, push forward. Explore the new Peloton cross-training tread plus today at onepeloton.com. Today's episode also brought to you by Square. Think of all the things that make your favorite neighborhood, your favorite neighborhood spots. What's your favorite bar? I mean, throw it in the chat. What are your favorite neighborhood spots? For me, it's Bona Casa in Cumberland, Wisconsin. Ravioli like you can only dream of, like the Italian gods meant for ravioli to be created. That's what Bona Casa is for me. It's those favorite neighborhood spots that make your neighborhoods incredible. Square helps you get to all those spots. It helps power those spots. Right now, Square, spending money. Hold on, I lost my ad read over here. These local spots make what a neighborhood feels like run like home. Over 4 million local neighborhood businesses run on Square. See you in the neighborhood. Visit square.com/go/lockdown college to learn more. Go visit all those incredible neighborhood spots. Today's episode also brought to you by our great friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here. College football, college basketball is coming up, NBA, baseball playoffs are going on. What a great time to be alive over on FanDuel.com. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. You can use that $300 across the app, parlays, futures, teaser, spreads. It's all over there. And it makes your weekend just a little more exciting. Any type of betting action you would like, it's over on FanDuel.com, the official sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network, and quick payouts when you win. Again, $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet hits. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Let's get into the rest of these grades. I want to throw into the comments, see what you got here. Jim Thompson says offensive line D+. Timothy Baum says a D is better than an F. Yeah. And John says getting clean snaps is such a relief. I thought the offensive line, again, given the context, wasn't terrible. I think I still don't think it still needs to be better than that, right? Even against Michigan, even on the road, even with a couple new pieces, you still got to be a little better than that. I don't hate the continuity of this going forward. I don't hate the idea of this offensive line with this group of players as they move forward getting better. There's something there that works, but it still wasn't good enough. All right, let's go on to the next one. Defensive line, B. So defensive line, I'm talking interior defensive line, Parker Peterson, Ben Barton, JVR Suggs, that group of players. I thought Michigan, for the most part, struggled running the ball. Now, they had a couple gashers. They had a 43-yard run. But even with that, Michigan averaged 5.1 yards per carry. On the season, they averaged 8+. So Wisconsin held them underneath that. They had a key third down and short stop. This defensive line was fine. They held their own. They didn't get moved. Again, this is not a defensive line that gets a ton of pressure on opposing quarterbacks, but that's not their job in this defense. If you had that, great. You have Warren Sapp and John Randall and amazing. But you don't have that. But in the absence of that, can you stop the run? They did, for the most part. They made Michigan sweat a little. They made them fight a little. They were physical. I think it's a B. I think a B is solid. The only sack from this unit, or from on the defense, came from this unit, JVR Suggs. I went B on defensive line. Edge, B-. So Mason Reiger got in the backfield several times, a couple tackles for loss, blew up some running plays, but they got to finish. This edge group of Daryl Peterson, who also had a nice day, got pressure, forced an incomplete pass, but this edge group of Peterson, Cheeks, Mason Reiger, they got to finish plays. They have to get sacks. I think there's a couple plays where you see it. Underwood is breaking containment. This has been a thing that's happened this year. Those defensive edges, the boundaries of your defensive line, they have to contain quarterbacks. And quarterbacks continue to break containment, extend plays, find plays down the field. I thought the edges were fine. Again, I think pressure was there. There was some disruption, but 0 sacks. This defense didn't force a turnover. Underwood was able to get out of the pocket and scramble. I don't think they were the problem at all, but I think they need to be a little better. The edges have to, let me rephrase it actually. The edges on this defense have to be special if this defense is going to be special. They have to be the ones that get sacks. They have to be the ones that hold contain. They have to be the ones that hold mobile quarterbacks down, because you need those linebackers back in coverage right now, because your coverage can't hold up by itself. So your edge guys have to be the difference makers in the front seven. I thought they were good against Michigan and Ann Arbor. I don't think they were great. I think they need to be better going forward. Inside linebackers, C-. Not a great day from Christian Allegro, quite frankly. Again, a player that I think you need to play really well for this defense to function at its highest level. Christian Allegro had 3 missed tackles. That's Pro Football Focus had him down for 3 missed tackles. He needs to be better. And I maybe you need to use him a little more downhill. If you remember how they used Leo Chanel was used downhill. He was used as a battering ram. He was used as a sledgehammer to just crack open the egg of the opposing offense. You might need to use Allegro more like that. Use him at what he's really good at, which is getting north-south. It's blowing up blockers. It's being disruptive. He wasn't great. You need him to tackle better. Tackett Curtis was okay. Again, I think there were a couple of coverage issues there. I actually thought Curtis played better. You saw a couple reps from Mason Posa. I would like to see more of him. I said that 2 weeks ago. You just need a bigger game from Christian Allegro. And again, we're grading on the context of who these players are. He needs to be one of the stars of this defense. He missed a few too many tackles in a game where there were way too many missed tackles in general. Allegro, C+, or inside linebackers, C+. Cornerbacks, D+. Man, let's start with Underwood. Underwood made a couple really nice throws. He also had a couple throws where 50-50 balls, you need your DBs to make some plays, whether that was a safety, whether that was a corner. It felt like their athletes made plays over our athletes. A bit of a rough tackling game from the corners. Again, Rico missed a big tackle. Latimer missed a big tackle. You need those guys to be clean. And we're getting to the point in the season where I think the expectations have already been adjusted, Badger fans. I think we can almost move on from, is Rico going to find it? I don't think he is. I don't know why. I was thinking about this today. I was actually eating breakfast. I got an omelet, some hash browns, a couple coffees. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, we got to move on from this conversation of when is Rico going to find it. I think this is who Rico is right now. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's some type of physical thing that's limiting him, some mental thing. I don't know whether it's a scheme thing, whether the coaches have messed something up, whether something happened this offseason. I don't know. And I know he's a good kid. Like, 'cause when you hear people talk about him, he's a great kid. But I think this is kind of who he is, and we need to stop expecting more at this point. But you still have to make the simple plays. We're not expecting 2 year ago Rico Holman anymore, but you got to make the simple tackles, man. Latimer, you got to make the tackles. You guys have to clean up those edges. And it was a bit of a rough game again. Latimer missed a tackle. Rico missed 2. Underwood, a freshman quarterback, went 19 of 28. That's certainly not all against the corners. But again, I thought they were able to pick on some spots on the edges. And the corners have to be a little bit better. So D+ on the corners. Safety, C-. Again, just too many missed tackles. Man, that absence of Preston Zachman, massive. Austin Brown needs to step up in the absence of Preston Zachman, and he has not been able to do it. He has not been able to consistently step up. He had a big missed tackle down near in the red zone against Michigan where he didn't wrap up. He just kind of bounced off a guy. You got to tackle, man. So Austin Brown had a couple misses. They gave up a couple plays in the passing game where it feels like the safeties still aren't fully locked in. Matt Young took a pretty bad angle on a run support coming up where he just misread it, and Haynes was able to get it to the outside of him. I think with Haynes and Trainer, those guys are Young and Trainer, those guys, you give them a little bit of grace because this is their first year in the system. Austin Brown has to play better. And I think it's fair to say he's been a disappointment this year. There were very high expectations for Austin Brown, given how physically talented he is. The fact that he's been in the system for a couple of years. We miss Hunter Wohler. We miss Hunter Wohler a lot. We miss Preston Zachman a lot. Safeties, C-. Let's get in some of these comments too. Jim Thompson said Michigan went to the pass more than they wanted. I agree. Timothy Palm, the long run was on Allegro for jumping inside, and the DB was slow to fill. Yeah, Allegro wasn't great today. Bo said our linebackers suck. I don't think they suck. I don't think this was a great game, though. Zach Bart, Stevie's get an F- if that's possible. Yeah, that's probably true. I guess I went higher. I went cornerbacks D+, safety C-. I could definitely be lower. The tackling was horrendous in this game. From the linebackers to the DBs, the tackling was just horrendous. And there was just, again, a few too many easy completions for a quarterback like Underwood, who is still pretty limited in his reads. Now, a couple years from now, that dude's going to be a problem. You can see every single physical tool in the world has been put inside of him. He's going to be a problem, but the corners just need to get better, man. The safeties need to get better. Raul says Rico seems like a great kid, but it seems like he has a lot going on personally. Yeah, I don't know if there's something going on, if it's physical, if it's scheme, if something has been altered scheme-wise that we're not paying attention to. He's regressed a lot, man. And I'm to the point where this is where I'm getting. And I said this a couple weeks ago, Family Man. Ty, I agree with you. It's time to maybe start playing some of those younger corners, because if you're playing this poorly, what are you losing by trying out a Kairos Gaines or a Washington or a Scott? I don't know what you're really sacrificing at this point if this is the level of play you're consistently getting. And we've seen younger players cycle in other places. Mason Posa, for example, is one. I'd like to see some Eugene Hilton. But you got to get better play there. And if you don't, you might as well go with youth and see if you can build something. Special teams, C. So good and bad, and if you average them out, you get equal, right? Our punt return teams continue, I think, to be pretty disappointing. We field punts that I don't think we should. We almost got another punt blocked, which is wild. But Bertram's also pinned him a couple times. Bertram's had a couple really nice punts with the punt coverage unit being able to pin the ball inside the 10, inside the 5. So I think they were okay. They were fine. No big game swinging plays either way. I thought we flipped field position a couple times because we were able to punt, because Bertram's was able to kind of pinpoint some of those shots. But also, we also got a punt blocked again. Like it did get blocked. It got partially blocked. It got tipped. So that's wild. But I went C for special teams. Coaching is, what do you guys have for coaching? Raul has C-. What do you guys have for coaching in this game for a grade? Curious where you guys are at before I throw my grade out there. Bo Dragon says a big F. Timothy said, I wonder if Paul Haynes just doesn't cut it as a DB coach. Explains the Rico regression. Badger Bormel says F. Let's see here. Latimer says the team isn't getting it done. The whole D- for the DBs as a whole, I don't agree with. And the writing of Latimer, he made a couple of great tackles. I am not sure about the miss. Didn't see that. Yeah, he missed on one of the outside runs. He did have a really nice tackle. Latimer had a great tackle on a tight end, on their big tight end coming out of the flat. So I think that's a very fair point. And again, my grades aren't the correct grades necessarily. They are just the grades that I have. So I'm open to every other opinion on this, but it felt like our DBs just did not tackle well. Bird Dogger went D on coaching. Family Man Ty went D minus. So here's the hard thing with me on coaching. I felt like before that end of game sequence, I was like a C plus on coaching because I thought this team came out and played harder. I thought they were more prepared. They fought in the first half, which is everything I've wanted. I like the move to Hunter Simmons. That seemed to work. And then the end of the game, it's hard for me to get past that. So I'm going D plus on coaching, but it's literally because of those last 3 minutes where I just can't get over not taking timeouts and continuing to fight to the end. It really is like a mental block that I'm struggling with because up until that point, I think coaching was like a C plus, B minus. I'm going to be honest. Like this team was outclassed in this game from a talent perspective, from a health perspective. Michigan's a better team at home and they're healthier. And this team hung in. The first half, we were right there. We were right there into the third quarter. I thought Tressel's game plan was pretty good for the most part. That first opening sequence was one of the best drives of the game of the season. And you did so much of what we wanted. And then at the end of the game, to not take those timeouts, to not continue fighting, it felt like a white flag. It felt like a move I just can't square in my head. So I think it's like a D plus for coaching. It's not all bad. They did a lot of things that we had hoped they would do, and we saw progress of those things. But the end of the game, man, really bothers me. It still bothers me. Family Man Ty says, I like Latimer and Agard. Yeah. Yeah, I think they've been the better corners this year. Rico, for whatever reason, just has not come through, and I don't understand why. Craig Fissel says, offensive play calling in the fourth quarter, D minus. Yeah, I think you could be more creative. I also think Grimes is in a really tough spot where his offense line is getting mauled a little bit, and he's got a third string quarterback. There's no way Hunter Simmons has the full control of the full playbook because of the reps he's been given. So I do think Grimes is in a bit of a tough spot there. Badger Bournemouth says Fickle's coaching scared. I think there is a little bit of that. I think there is a little bit of they were coaching to keep it close instead of coaching to win. All right, we're going to wrap it there. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you for watching Locked On Badgers. More content tonight, the rest of this week. We got basketball media days coming up. A bunch of great stuff coming up on this channel. Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Badgers on Wisconsin. And as always, thank you for tuning in and supporting this community.